Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're well. Today is a doozy. I've got the newest blue fragrance release that everybody is thinking to themselves right now. Oh, that came out already? Oh, I completely forgot about that because I literally don't care at all. No, that's not true. The excitement is palpable. You can almost taste it. That's right, guys. It's the new K Parfum from Dolce Gabbana. Big D&G, Big Daddy dropping this one on us. What? $178. That is what this one cost me. But don't worry, it's already available at discounters for $68. That cannot be right. And yet somehow it absolutely is. That is the fastest speed run I think I have ever seen a new fragrance do. Hey guys, this just came out just the other day for $100. Oh my God, it's already $110 less at discounters. What happened? The answer? I don't know, but I paid $110 more for it, only for it to pop up like the next day for $68, so. Now, I don't know once it hits all the main discounters if it's gonna maintain that low price, but right here today, as I'm shooting this video, some of you out there are gonna be able to scoop this up for 68 bucks, so good on you. But we can maybe revisit that later on, the pricing and all that stuff, and talk about the K line just a little bit. I will have this one linked in the description below. If it is still available at discounters, that link will be below, along with obviously full retail as well. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at this presentation. Then we can start talking K Parfum, how it smells. So here we have the box. On the front, you have the name of the house. You have the concentration and size as well. Little DG up top, nothing on the sides. On the back, you have the note breakdown, which is pretty simple. Licorice, caramelized fig, and sandalwood. Or I suppose, depending on where you live, you could say caramelized. That does roll off the tongue a little bit better. You have your ingredients on the back as well, and on the bottom, your batch code and barcode. And they have printed the batch code in black ink on the black box, which makes it pretty difficult to read. That batch code is 21R04CE1. And here we have the bottle. It's done up in this nice navy blue coloration with the silver K on the front. Cap is blue and silver, and on the bottom, you have a sticker with your batch code. The cap does click snugly into place, so you can pick it up by the cap, and it has a little DG on the inside of the cap as well. Let's go ahead and share a couple of sprays. Here we go. Thankfully, actually a good atomizer. A lot of fragrances, new fragrance releases lately, have had subpar atomizers that just don't work very well. This one does. We're gonna deep dive into this one, but before we do that, here's a quick rundown of the current coupon codes available to you. So you can use these codes across all these websites to save yourself some money. So as I said, full retail for this one, $178 for this size bottle right here, 100 mils. Although apparently it's gonna be marked off pretty heavily. As far as the really big name fragrance houses, blue fragrance lines, K is probably my least favorite. I would take Bleu de Chanel over K. I would take Sauvage over K. I would take Dylan Blue by itself over K. I would take Y over K. They really got these imaginative names. Y, K. I know it stands for king, but I mean, it's K. So yeah, it's not my favorite, but for the price that you can find most of them for at discounters, for a lot of people, they do make sense. They're wearable, they're versatile, and obviously if you like the fragrance, who cares? Wear it, right? It just doesn't work that well for me. And now we have another entry, quite a pricey one. So the question is it worth it? Well, I guess it was pricey. So to me, the most interesting thing when you look at this note breakdown is that caramelized fig. How does it come across? How sweet is it? How interesting is it? How much does it set the fragrance apart? Well, truth be told, it may not hit in quite the way that you would want a caramelized fig to hit. Like maybe you're thinking, oh, I really want this decadent, rich, sweet, like gourmand fig, you know, this sugary kind of fig with a deep, almost ambery undertone to it. It doesn't really hit like that. You get some green aspects from the fig, but it's not as prominent as I personally would have liked. And the caramel gives you some sweetness, obviously, but also not really as prominent as I would have liked. The first time I smelled this, actually, what I honed in on more was the licorice. And the way that it comes across, the licorice note, is more in line with kind of like a classic masculine style. A little bit of that like old school masculine scent profile, only smoothed out. That's kind of how it comes across. And I do get some vague similarities to how that note is used in Sauvage Elixir. Now, this is not a one-to-one with Sauvage Elixir. Sauvage Elixir has more going on. It's got more of this like woody, spicy scent profile to it. It's really bold. It's kind of in your face. It can be even a little bit aggressive if you spray a lot of it on. This one has been smoothed out, so it doesn't have as much of that going on. It doesn't really have that big spicy pop to it, that fresh, spicy, woody, spicy aspect. But like I said, it does have kind of that throwback masculine style to it a little bit. And the way the licorice is used is gonna remind you a little bit of how it's used in Sauvage Elixir. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying it smells the same as Sauvage Elixir. I don't think you can use this in place of Sauvage Elixir, but there are bits and pieces in here that are gonna make you maybe feel reminiscence of Sauvage Elixir. Reminiscence of Sauvage, okay. You know what I'm trying to say here. I'm not gonna redo that. So the fig you get, yes, a touch fresh, ever so slightly, just a tiny little bit of like juiciness to it, a little green, but frankly swallowed up by the woody aspects in here, the licorice and the sandalwood. And the caramel really just gives you kind of like a playful edge off the top, a little bit into the mid. As it settles down, it becomes absolutely about the sandalwood. And really that's what this fragrance is more so about. It's more so about that sandalwood. The licorice over top initially and then swaps places with the sandalwood as it dries. It's got a nice kind of classy touch to it. Definitely comes across more mature than the other Dolce & Gabbana K fragrances, which is not a surprise. That's usually how it goes when you get like the whole Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Eau de Parfum Intense, Eau de Parfum Intenser, Eau de Parfum Parfum Edition, and then finally the Parfum, followed by the Elixir, followed by Elixir Absolute. So we're kind of somewhere in that whole wheelhouse, but you know usually how it goes as it moves on up the hierarchy, it does get a little bit of a richer, kind of a more sophisticated style to it, and that's what this is. You have some faint similarities to the Eau de Parfum Intense version of K that came before this one, mainly in the fig, but again, the fig is more pronounced in Eau de Parfum Intense, and I don't think it's redundant to own both. So it's just kind of one of those things where you could draw a line from one, led to the other one, but they're doing their own thing. In terms of when you would wear this one, it's gonna be more of a fall, winter, and spring fragrance, not so much summer. And I think you could use it daytime or evening, either one. In terms of performance, it's got good staying power. It sticks around a while on your skin. It's gonna last a long time. Projection is more moderate. When it comes to parfum concentration fragrances, it kind of seems to lean one way or the other. So when you get a parfum flanker, you never know exactly which way it's gonna be. But what I mean by this is you'll get something that has great longevity as a parfum, but then actually the projection is a little bit lower, at least compared to like, say, the Eau de Parfum that came before it, even the Eau de Toilette sometimes that came before it. And then other times you'll get a parfum flanker and it will be just a crazy beast. To just project like a monster, last forever. This one is the former, not the latter. Kind of like going back to Sauvage again, Sauvage Parfum. That one for a lot of people does not project quite as well as the Eau de Parfum. Kind of the same thing going on here. But I actually don't mind. I think the performance is solid because like I said, it sticks around for a long time and the projection isn't like super weak or anything. You can still smell it. It's just not overly strong. So all this is cool, all this is great, but how does it stack up in the K hierarchy? The K hierarchy. Curiarchy. So to my own taste, I do like this more than the Eau de Toilette. They're not really apples to apples as far as what you would use them for, but I like this more than the Eau de Toilette. I think I would take this over the Eau de Parfum Intense, and I'd probably take this over the Eau de Parfum. Again, not being a massive fan of the line, I kind of like this one a little bit more. And that's probably because it does bring some of those like classically masculine elements into the scent just a little bit, and then does it in that more typical, as I said a couple of times, smoother fashion, you know, rounds off the edges, tries to make it more palatable to more people, that kind of stuff. And you could say that that makes it lose a little bit of character, like some of the old school masculine scents didn't care as much if they were like maybe a little more for a specific person, right? But they're trying to get sales here, so they're gonna obviously try to like work that in, but also make sure that it's really appealing, and that's what they've done. But I'd say to my own taste that I like this one the most of the K line. Is that saying a whole heck of a lot? Maybe not, but I do like how it smells. And I've actually caught myself reaching for this a little bit more than I would have expected initially. And again, going back to this, it is not the same as Sauvage Elixir. Also Raja Parfum Apex, which sometimes gets compared to Sauvage Elixir. Not the same as those, but I will say that it's in the same wheelhouse, the same family, same style. So if you like those two fragrances, you'll probably like this one. Will you like it more than those? I'm not saying that, but you'll probably enjoy it. If I could change something with it, it would be that fig. I would like a little more of that. I would like a little more of the caramel, because it really, truly is about that woodiness, the woodsy aspects of the fragrance. It changes a little bit what's supporting those notes from the opening into the dry down, but those are really what the scent is about. Now, the most important thing of all, is it worth the price? You know, 178 bucks, that does put it up more toward the higher end of things if we're talking full retail. And at that price, there's a lot of other stuff that I personally would rather have. It's not a bad release, it's just really competitive out there. And at 178, I would probably be going for something else. Now, at that price that it showed up for at discounters already, 68 bucks, is it worth that? Oh yeah, for me, all day. 68 bucks is an absolute steal. It's almost a shame that it already hit that price, in the sense of it has already set the bar, like, oh, you can get it for that. So, you know, sorry Dolce & Gabbana, but if it's already available for 110 less, I don't think anybody should buy it for 178. I did, and I don't mind it, but now I kind of wish I waited. Regardless though, smells really nice. I enjoy it a whole bunch. And do wear this one on skin, test it off skin if you go into a store. Off of a strip, you're gonna get more of that fig. Off skin, it doesn't come through as much. So you might get duped a little bit if you spray it only on a strip, and then you're like, oh, what's he talking about? There's all kinds of fig here in the opening. Yeah, off paper. Off skin, it settles into the woodiness a lot quicker. So there we go, guys. D&G K Parfum. For me, it's a step in the right direction as far as how the scent comes across, but it is, to a slight extent, a step away from some of the other, or all of the other K fragrances outside of that fig, which again, off skin, not overly prominent for me. Thank you all for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.